Hello there folks, welcome back to another speed paint video. This week I'm going to be doing some art of some bug type Pokemon. These are actually going to be part of a wallpaper pack that will be free to my Ko-fi members, since I want to make some more stuff for them so that way people might be more incentivized to join. So without further ado, let's make some nice pretty Pokemon wallpapers. The first wallpaper we have features the Kricketot line, with both Kricketot and Kricketune. For a lot of these wallpapers, I decided to do something of a symmetrical composition since I thought it would be fun and also work good as a desktop background. And the Kricketot line is definitely one of my favorites. I mean, people really like these guys. Kricketune with its beautiful, iconic Deelily whoop call that it does, and Kricketot is just genuinely one of the cutest bug Pokemon, like, ever. He's just so good, so cute. I have the sitting cutie of Kricketot. I got it, like, when it first came out. Totally cute. Very good little Pokemon. Overall, I feel like these guys are both, like, appreciated, but also kind of underrated. I don't know how to describe it, but like, I don't know. This is a Pokemon that I feel like is oft forgotten about despite having something of a famous internet reputation. Anyway, I really got to appreciate how good the character designs for these Pokemon are while I was working on this. I really got to appreciate like all the string instrument and violin type aspects that are put into their body design. I got to appreciate like how cute their little mustache and antenna are. Really they're just good, solidly designed Pokemon. They're incredibly simple, and yet there's just enough detail that it doesn't look like they're too flat. I just think they're just a lovely little family. For this piece, I made it so that way Kricketot is kind of like jumping, almost like in a cheerful kind of way. Like they're just kind of a little excited. They don't really have very expressive faces for Pokemon, but I thought it'd be fun if it looked like they were like a little jolly, maybe doing a little dance. And for Kricketune, I made it do something similar to its like pose in its official art. And I really just wanted to keep this a nice warm color palette. I really wanted the vibe of like yellowed paper or like a cafe style color palette. So I did my best to keep everything very warm. Really the only cool tone is the like cool gray that is very dark that's used for the black parts like the antenna, the eyes, and things like that. So overall, this was a pretty simple piece. It was still a lot of fun to do, and I'm pretty happy with how it came out. I think these guys turn out really cute. Next up, we have another bug Pokemon family that I feel is simultaneously very appreciated on the internet and yet also kind of underrated, and it's the Joltik line. I think the Joltik line got a real surge, no pun intended, in popularity following Pokemon Legends Arceus and like the sort of rebirth / renaissance of Subway Master type art, and people have a very strong association with Joltik and Emmett, and I mean Joltik was already pretty popular anyway for being very cute and fuzzy, but I feel like Galvantula is often kinda in the shadow of its pre-evolution, despite also being a very cute and fuzzy little Pokemon. I just think it's a lovely little spider Pokemon. Like, as a kid, I think I had a gripe the fact that it still had only 4 legs, but as an adult, I can really appreciate how good its design is. The fact that its legs are actually on its head and not, like, on the abdomen, which is more accurate to how a spider actually looks, really makes me pleased. And this thing really does look a lot like a tarantula, and it's wonderfully stylized. And Joltik is literally so cute that it, like, ticks are one of the most hated bugs out there. Like, they're one of the bugs that people make memes about that are like, I love bugs, but I want ticks to go extinct. Like, which is kind of a stupid thing to say. But Joltik is literally so cute that no one cares that it's a tick. Like, literally no one cares. They're just like, whatever, he's just really cute. And I just think that's pretty awesome that, like, this character design goes so hard that you turned, like, one of the most maligned and hated animals into, like, one of the most iconic Pokemon of the region, which I think is so awesome. I just think that's so cool. And they're just a wonderful little family of arachnids. For this piece, I went for a much more textured approach with the background than I did for the Kricketune piece. Since these guys tend to be a little flat, especially Joltik, because it is primarily just that yellow fluff, I really wanted them to kind of stick out a little more from the background by being very flat while the background is kind of noisy. I just had a lot of fun with this color palette. The yellow and purple sort of thing goes incredibly well together. It's just a lovely complementary color palette. And I always think about that like bluish purple being associated for me with Chargestone Cave. I also did a lot of symmetry in this piece compared to the Cricketune piece. With Cricketune, I did a lot of asymmetry with its arms because obviously they were in different poses. And for this piece, I really did mostly symmetrical stuff, except for like the pedipalps / arms that are in the front. I did the fluff symmetrical on both sides, and the way I worked in asymmetry was basically through the shading. A lot of folks don't necessarily like very symmetrical art because it can look a little bit artificial and like uncanny, and I'm also kind of in that camp. I'm not always the hugest fan of stuff that's perfectly symmetrical. So whenever I do a piece that uses a lot of symmetry, I try to find ways to like manufacture more asymmetry into it to make it feel a little more natural and hand-drawn. So the way I go about this with these pieces, which are mostly symmetrical, is through the shading. So I find that that's a great way to like really distract from the fact that most of the lines are symmetrical, is by treating the color completely differently, even though they're basically being treated with the same lighting conditions. Just that difference in texture can really make it feel more natural and hand-drawn. Which, I mean, it is. It's just, it's hard to make it look that way when you have something that's perfectly symmetrical. Overall, I had a lot of fun with this one. I just love this line. I think they're very underrated, and I think they're very cute, and I hope you guys enjoy them as well. Next up, we have the Rellor line with Rellor and Rabsca. As far as poses go, this one was ultimately the most in-depth because it's like very not symmetrical despite the composition being based on symmetry. I really wanted to have this impression like they're currently in motion, kicking the ball in the air, and I wanted each Rellor on the other side to be showing their different sides, both the back and the front, since I feel like you mostly get to look at the back in the game, but in the official art they really show you the front of its face, so I wanted to represent both sides there. I also decided to include the infant that's in the egg that Rabsca carries around because I love that thing. It is literally so cute. I just think it's such a cute little, like, creature. This almost Pokemon that it is just, I don't know, it's just a really cute little grub. Just absolutely charming. And scarab beetles are just like one of my favorite animals anyway. Like, I just think they're so cool. The fact that they navigate using the stars, the fact that they make spheres at all, their association with the sun, the fact that they're just like cute, round, fat beetles, like, oh my god. They're just excellent little animals. I can see why they were sacred to the Egyptians because, oh my gosh, they are just awesome. And I'm glad we got a Pokemon that really embodies everything that makes scarab beetles so great. Like, when Scarlet and Violet first came out, it was like right after I got my job part-time at a bug museum. And I had been learning a lot about different bugs, but especially scarab beetles, because we have a little display dedicated to them and their mythology and stuff. So it was really cool getting to see, like, a Pokemon design come out and really embody everything that I already loved and had come to even further appreciate about these animals. And it was just pretty awesome. For this composition, it is Rabsca, of course, in the middle with its big egg, and then, of course, a Rellor on either side, one facing the camera and one facing away. And I tried to make their legs look like they're currently in motion, like they're currently kicking. The way that they move when Rabsca is in the air kind of reminds me of, like, synchronized swimmers in a way, the way that they move their arms and legs in and out of the water. It just reminded me of that, so I wanted to have something that felt sort of magical and athletic and acrobatic at the same time. And I think I managed to hit that vibe pretty well. Overall, this was a pretty involved piece. There was a lot of, you know, legs and bits and everything to account for. This background was a pretty involved, like, cloud rendering thing that I went through a couple of trials for, trying to figure out what colors I wanted and what I was happy with. Ultimately, I really wanted there to look like there was the sun behind the egg that Rabsca is carrying, so that way it would feel a little more centered in the composition than it already was. And even though this one was a lot of work and it really kicked my butt, I still had a lot of fun with it. It was really cool getting to work with these Pokemon. I had one on my team playing the game, but I have had yet to actually draw Rabsca or Rellor, so it was pretty awesome getting to draw them and getting to really appreciate them, because I feel like they're pretty underrated little Pokemon. And I'm pretty happy with how this illustration came out. Next up, we have a Pokemon that I think most people forget is a bug type, and that's Shuckle. I love Shuckle. Shuckle's so cool. I'm gonna be real with you folks, I don't really know why he's a bug type either. I'm pretty sure his inspirations are like snake wine and fungus, you know, two things that aren't like arthropods. So I don't know what's going on with that typing, but I think Bug Rock is a great type, and Shuckle is just really freaking cute, and I will take any excuse to draw Shuckle. For Shuckle, I didn't want to do like an exact sort of composition like I did with the other ones who have like actual evolutionary families, since, at least for the time being, Shuckle is a standalone single-stage Pokemon, so I just wanted him hanging out with some friends that are other Shuckles in different poses. So I included two friends for him, one that's asleep, and one that is sitting and looking the other way. And I just thought it'd be fun to draw Shuckle in different poses. I just think drawing Shuckle is just very, I don't know, it's so easy and therapeutic. Like, you can really just BS your way around with the legs. And as long as you treat them and fold them in the right way, like, it'll look pretty good. Like, Shuckle is very loosey-goosey as far as its forms go. And I just thought that, you know, this is a really cute Pokemon, and I thought it would be fun to draw a nice little wallpaper of him. I, of course, included a shiny Shuckle in here, since if I was going to include 3 of the same Pokemon, I might as well make one of them a different color just to liven things up a little bit. And Shuckle was just really charming. I love how when the head curves, you can imply a smile without actually drawing its mouth, which is what I did for the one on the left there. I just think they are just such cute little Pokemon. Their concept is so strange and weird, but like, I think every great Pokemon is like strange and weird. Like, they're all like that, and I just think that's what makes them so good. Ultimately, I had a lot of fun with these guys. Shuckle are just very fun to draw. You can basically turn any weird shape into a Shuckle if you really try. Maybe I'll do a video based on that one day. I think that could be fun. But I just had a lot of fun drawing these weird little fungal, turtle, snake wine type guys. They're just incredibly charming and cute, and I'll probably draw them again at some point. For the last bug wallpaper for today, we're going to be doing the Venonat line with Venonat and Venomoth. And this one's going to be another traditionally symmetrical type piece. I wanted to do a lot of like these symmetrical pieces since I had actually done 2 before for Ko-fi members in my highest tier who get a free wallpaper every month. I created the November and December ones, which maybe I'll show them blurred on screen here. Just that's what they look like, and I thought they were cute, so I wanted to do another moth Pokemon based symmetrical wallpaper just because I think they're really charming and fun to do. Venonat and Venomoth are both very fun. It's kind of funny how different they look to each other. I know a lot of people have like this theory that like Venonat was supposed to evolve into Butterfree and that Metapod was supposed to go into Venomoth. And maybe, but I do think it's kind of funny how different they are. I think it really speaks to how bugs are in real life. Like, there are some very wacky looking caterpillars out there that you would never guess evolve into the, well, I guess not evolve, but turn into the moth that they go into. And there are some drab moths that you would never guess have such colorful caterpillars. And there are some, like, very green caterpillars that turn into not very green moths. There's really a lot of surprises out there in nature when it comes to metamorphosis, and I really like when a Pokemon really embodies that. Like, I think a lot of people who make Fakemon designs, like, I think the big thing, at least when I try to do it, a thing I usually struggle with is making the evolution members look too similar to each other. And I think Pokemon thrive best when they look dramatically different from change to change. And I think that's because real-life animals are also often like that, especially when it comes to the bug types. So, yeah, I really wanted to embody that, and, like, I think that's what's so cool about Venomoth and Venonat, is even though they're very different, they do still feel unified as a family. And I feel like they really embody, like, how cool moths are, even if Venonat is allegedly a gnat. I just think they're really cute. Venonat has very cute eyes. I mean, you can tell by the way I draw my Mothman character that I love big, round, like, you know, circle eyes that are red. I love that. So, yeah, I just had a lot of fun. This was a very simple process, you know, just drawing the Pokemon, doing the symmetry, doing the asymmetry with various ruffles and things like that to make it look a little more handmade. Ultimately a pretty simple piece with a pretty simple approach, but it was still pretty fun to do. It was just a nice, clean little composition. And with that, that is all I've got for you guys today. Thank you all so much for watching. Did you have a favorite bug type that you saw in this video? I think my favorite illustration I made was probably the one with the Galvantula line, but it's a little hard to pick. There's a lot of good options, I drew a lot of them today, and I'm pretty happy with all of them to say the least. In the future, I want to post more of my speed paint illustrations to my Ko-fi as like downloadable things, like wallpapers and things like that. So if you're interested in downloading these, feel free to sign up for my Ko-fi. Ko-fi is the best way you can support me, so if you would like to help me keep making videos, help me pay for things like groceries, gas, and feeding my pet, I would really, really, really appreciate it. And with that, I believe that is everything I've got. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you again next week with another speed paint. And in the meantime, why don't you go out there and make some art?